to check. Honorable Kamete, can you hear me?
Yes, Chair, I can hear you.
No, I can. Yeah. Well, if you can hear me and you can see me, it means we will get through proceeding today. Let me just check just to make sure that we've got members here, and I appreciate your patience as honorable members. We were meant to meet earlier on in the morning, and the African National Congress had a meeting that they could not move, and I thought it was important to accommodate so that we can ensure that we get the full attendance of members. So, Honorable Sekete, I see you there. Is Honorable Talega Mazibuko on this call?
Yes, Chair, I am present. The ANC is present, Chair. Thank you.
Oh, that is good. Let me just check. I see Honorable Bateman and Honorable Wakelin are here. And then yes, Honorable Wakelin, I see your hand is up. Are you high-fiving me?
Not yet, sir. Chair, Honorable Bateman, unfortunately, has a procedure. Is going to be difficult of hearing, but he is online.
Okay.
But we'll just have to try to accommodate him in some way. But he's got one or two submissions to make. I'll request, if he's not able to speak, that he could maybe submit it in the chat box so that he can submit his position on one or two things.
Of course, there are a number of things that we will need to discuss, so we can go from there. Honorable members, I think I've seen we've got Parliament TV here and the streaming service, so it looks like, by all accounts, everybody is here. Welcome, honorable members. Can we just put the agenda before so that we can proceed and then go from there? Today's meeting is convened to adopt the Special Appropriations report tabled by the Appropriations Committee, which will then be debated in Parliament on the 21st of April, pending on the application of the suspension of the 3-day rule, A, B, that it being ATC'd, and so the debate will proceed on Tuesday. It's a very important piece of legislation and a number of issues that we need to work through. The agenda before us there today has a number of items. Honorable members, I wanted to request that we withdraw item 5, which is the consideration of the report, so that we can avail all the time and the focus on the consideration of the report. Honorable Wakelin, I see your hand is up.
Chair, I think it's appropriate if I maybe just do a submission before we engage the report on two fundamental issues. I think if we can first engage them, would you allow me to proceed? It is not related to the report, but it's got to do with the structural format of the approach that we've taken to this point.
Can we adopt the agenda and then your submissions need to be part of that, or you want to talk about?
No, it's fine, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will withdraw that item. So with that in mind, it means that the sole purpose is to consider item 3 and 4, which is the motion of desirability and then the consideration of the report. With that in mind, and I ask, is there an honourable member who will move for the adoption of the agenda as it's put like that?
I propose, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honourable Wakelin. Is there a member who will second?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Mkhonto, and it's good to see you. Thank you so much. And so the agenda being duly adopted, then we will then resume. Let me, honourable members, naturally, I want to give a bit of context as to why we find ourselves in this space. Towards the end of the last term, we'd spent a significant amount of time working on the Division of Revenue Bill and adopting that report, which was then adopted. We had to be considerate of the Money Bills and Related Matters Act, and so we had to make sure that the adoption of that bill was done so within the allocated timelines as specified in the piece of legislation. Post that, we then were given the advice that it was then common cause that the Special Appropriations Bill, which is a different set of legislation, did not need to be adopted concurrent with the Division of Revenue Bill. I attended and met with the chairperson's committee and raised this matter. There were a number of questions that various parties had as to the Special Appropriations Bill, so I thought it was important for us to consider it at a later stage, which we have now allowed ourselves to say, how do we set up a meeting today? I then reverted back to the programming whip and the programming committee and Parliament itself to then inquire about when the next available sitting to deal with the legislation was going to be, if it wasn't going to be done on the 21st. Given that this Special Appropriation Bill relies on the powers given to the Minister of Finance to appropriate funds and then be able to inform Parliament, it was then common cause that we, in consultation with National Treasury and the Minister of Finance, that they'd sent us communication to say the bill needed to be adopted by the 10th of May. What that then meant was that we then had to urgently ensure that the bill was adopted before then. I then inquired of programming committee to say, when can we exactly have a scheduled session just to deal with this piece of legislation? And in working through the program and ensuring that the meetings could quorate, because remember, this law has to be voted in a parliamentary sitting, and quorum then becomes crucial. Make sure everyone is there. The day that then became available was to then do our best to get it done by the 21st. So, honorable members, I give you that background so that there's an appreciation of the fact that we have a job to do as a committee. That's on one aspect. Second to that, we have a job to do with Parliament, because the budget is the work of Parliament, and Parliament appropriates funds effectively, or no funds can be taken out of the national revenue without an Appropriations Act, or in this particular instance, a Special Appropriations Act. So we then had to work with all of those variables that have been moving. I've done my best to keep in regular contact with various party whips to try and update as to where this matter is at. So I thought it's key that you appreciate how many moving targets are there. And we are having a management committee meeting on Monday so that we don't have a repeat of the same going into this term, given that at the end of this term, I think it's in about the 21st of June, the Appropriations Bill will be adopted in the National Assembly, or it's scheduled to be debated at the National Assembly. So we've almost got to work backwards to make sure it is adopted on time, etc. I am very conscious of the fact that parties have to consult with their caucuses, etc., etc. But this is the nature of what has happened in a unique environment where you had Easter in the middle of all of that, a break in between all of that, and a number of factors. With those remarks in mind, let me recognize Honorable Waitlin. You can raise the question you wanted to raise, and then we can proceed. And then I'll take apologies from that point on.
Yeah, Chair, thank you very much for your explanation. And I think that was the first part of my request, to have an understanding. How did we got to this point? Whereas, I've given us a partial explanation. My concern lies in that, as we speak now, Chair, there are still a number of matters that is unclarified, and we are sitting in a situation where we on Monday have a caucus on this only, because of the timeframes that have changed, and on a very short notice. Because in my last conversation with you, you indicated that it will be possibly pushed out, and I understand that things did change, and that resulted now in not trying to get a caucus. We were not able to get a caucus together. However, Chair, there's a second part to this which is extremely worrisome and concerning to the DA. And this is the part where yesterday afternoon, only yesterday, we received a National Treasury document, a 55-page document which we've requested, I think it's almost 2 weeks ago, arriving at our desk and then now expect us to support a special appropriation bill, whereas there's still a number of technical information that we had to go through. And I want to put it up front and on record with you, Chair, that this will be the last time that the DA will do something like this. We cannot be forced in a position, and I think the other parties might feel the same. And this is now becoming a culture where information arrives at our desk in the evening and expect us in the next day to have a decision ready and support or not support. Chair, this will not be happening again. I can tell you from the DA's perspective, this has caused a massive amount of contestation, and we will not allow this to happen again. Chair, now I'm requesting from you that we can try to see where we can fit and support this current report as it stands, and let's see where it takes us to the end of this morning. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Talaga Mazibuko, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm going to be short because I share the same sentiments with Honorable Wakelin, especially in terms of the submission of reports, which disadvantages us to be able to do our scrutiny and oversight. I would therefore, Chair, request you to again, because I know that we have been raising this issue throughout the beginning of this term of the 7th administration, especially when it comes to the reports from the National Treasury. And last time, if my memory serves me well, the team actually promised us that it will never happen again, but it continues to happen. I'm not sure whether it's deliberate, so that we are not able to play our oversight. So I would request that you write maybe the last letter to the departments as well as National Treasury to say, because these reports are prepared on time. You can't tell me that they only prepared this report yesterday evening and submitted to us. So if we could have that written in a written form, that it's unacceptable and the committee is dissatisfied with this kind of practice. Thank you.
Honorable Talaga Mazibuko, let me, I want to say to both you and Honorable Wakelin that I take cognizant of the submissions you have made. I can assure you we will reiterate and write a letter back to National Treasury. This issue of the late submission of various reports, there was also subsequent questions that came through delayed. So what I would like to do is get us also into a straightforward routine of going, one, in our own meetings, this is the information we've requested, and let's seal it at a point that says you can only present on this information, and then the subsequent questions then must respond concurrent with the report that was shared. So your sentiment is well shared. These were questions that were put forward by members, and I truly believe that it is unacceptable that there's a delay in response to these issues, considering the nature of the piece of legislation that is before us. So you can have my undertaking on that point, Honorable Talaga Mazibuko and Honorable Wakelin, that the frustrations you feel has been frustrations that I've been flagging and been trying to work with. And of course, members, the space that we're getting in terms of them writing letters to us, at least certainly for me, has been something that I've taken to heart. And so part of the reason why I've wanted to also withdraw part of the program is that there are a number of issues that we must discuss so that we get maximum accountability being put on the table. Lastly, I would want to say, as part of our oversight, we've requested a meeting with National Treasury at National Treasury. And so what I will then ask is that perhaps between the various parties, we be able to put together a certain number of things that we would expect for National Treasury to be focused on so that we can have a direct operational meeting with them, not just how the budget is put together as an operational matter, but also a direct interaction as to how it will make the work of the committee and their work much more efficient to achieve maximum accountability. So I take the point 100%, honorable members, on that score. That letter we will have prepared. It will be submitted on Monday so that we can deal with it on Tuesday when we meet with National Treasury. Thank you. Can I then ask, are there any apologies, moving on to the second part of the agenda, are there any apologies from any member that we need to recognize? Mashile?
Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members on the platform and indeed colleagues. No, we haven't received any apology up to now, Chair, unless Mr. Denver has got something that happened recently. Thank you, Chair.
Is there any political party that wants to make a submission of an apology at this point in time? Okay. With no apologies, then I would suspect, is Honorable Kwankwa here?
Not yet, Chair.
I don't see Honorable Kwankwa. Okay. Just to check on that regard. The meeting being queried then, Mashile, can I ask you to table, let's get to the report and deal with the motion of desirability. May I ask that you table it? Because this session is on a virtual platform, it gets tricky. May I ask you to table it and then read it for the record, and then we can proceed from there. And then I'll talk about how we are going to proceed in dealing with the report itself. Thank you. Mashile?
You're welcome, Chair. A motion of desirability special appropriation bill B3 of 2026. That in the opinion of the committee, the legislation is desirable to adopt amounts of money for the requirements of the state for the 2025-26 financial year and to provide for matters connected therewith. Thank you, Chair.
With the motion of desirability being tabled, is there a member who will move that it is indeed desirable to have the legislation that we are busy considering today? Is the motion of desirability acceptable to members? Is there a member who will move for the adoption of the motion of desirability? Honorable Kalega Mazibuko, I recognize your hand.
Thank you very much, Chair. I move for the acceptance of the motion of desirability as presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Talega Mazibuko. Is there a member who will second the adoption of the motion of desirability? Honorable Sigede, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sigede. The motion of desirability has thus been duly adopted. With Honorable Gamede, I recognize your hand.
Ungafikanga besithi siyayiphikisa but it's fine sesidlulile. Thina siyayiphikisa njengomkhonto nje. Ihlaba siyayihlekisa.
Ukuzwile Honorable Gamede, manje angisazi ukuthi sime kuphi. Ukuthi ngibhale phansi ukuthi wena uthi awusudingi lo mthetho noma usho ukuthi usesidlulile. Angisakutholi manje.
Ngithi siyawuphikisa izathu sesoyibeka ngoba vele lesibili selibekiwe isihlalo.
All right. For translation purposes, Honorable Gamede was raising the objection of MKP Party to the motion of desirability, and therefore it is noted that MKP objects to the motion. Honorable Wakely, I recognize your hand.
Chair, you covered me. That's exactly what I wanted to know. I didn't understand the vernacular.
All right. You see, the difficulty of virtual platforms is that we don't have the benefit always of translation services. It's fortunate for the committee that I speak the majority of South African languages. So as Evel in Afrikaans laat praat, ons sal ook dit verstaan en seker maak dat vir al die mense in die committee verstaan wat gaan aan. That's the best Afrikaans I can come up with. Not that, Honorable Wakeland, you were going to make your submission in Afrikaans. In that regard, honorable members, let us then get to the piece of legislation before us. I want to say what I would like us to do in going through the piece of legislation. The first aspects of the issue have the background question. Honorable Wakeland has made a submission, which I would like for him to make. Honorable Kalega Mazibuko also would like to will then comment or will speak on this particular matter. I've asked our content advisor to be able to advise on this issue. And then what I would suggest that we do is we go through the report. What we typically would do is go through the report page by page. And so perhaps maybe the fundamental issue here is in dealing with the submissions that the respective members want to make and on the sections that deal with the sections that they'd like to make. So what I wanted to do is, because the question that Honorable Wakelin had put forward is material, given some of the issues that were raised in the Special Appropriations Bill, I thought it'd be important for me to give him the opportunity to make that discussion first, and then we'll go through the report and make the necessary amendments as we go. So, Honorable Wakelin, let me recognize you so that you can upfront make the submission you wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't sure that you would do it so early, but that's fine. I've got the information in front of me. I will be posting it in 2 parts because chat only allows you 1,000 words. Chair, as far as PRASA is concerned, there's a historical perspective around PRASA on a few matters. The one was obviously the original manufacturing contract that resulted in a 3.5 billion rand corruption case that was ventilated in court, of which 3.5 billion was found to be been flooding to or been moving to unscrupulous people. Let's not go into the detail. The second part is, Chair, of recent I have raised a question with the Minister of Transport on the other contract, which is called the General Overall Contract or the Maintenance Contract. And even there now, there is an internal forensic report fingering a number of, how can I say it, irregular expenditure or irregular positions that were taken on this contract. And that contract, as it stands at the moment, is getting, or that report is getting ventilated internally. And the Minister has assured me she is busy finalizing that. Now that brings me to my submission, Chair. Based on the risks that we associate with PRASA, and we had to go look for a methodology, and we first of all thought that we possibly had to change the current legislation, but we found a methodology within the PFMA that can assist us on what we want to see happening. So, Chair, if I can refer you to the PFMA Regulation 38(1)J, which very specifically refers to that, and I just wonder if I've got it in front of me, but it boils down to that we place the onus on the Director General of Transport, the Department of Transport, to put in all sorts of interventions that's required to ensure that the financial expenditure is protected. And one of the submissions that we've made now and that has been done previously is a matter of ensuring that the conditional transfer has got, it will be resulted in conditional tranche payments. And I just want to read this to you. I said, given the well-documented challenge in financial mismanagement previously, and now at the passenger rail agency in South Africa, a possible way forward would be to recommend that the Director General of National Treasury invoke this provision and structure the allocation as conditional tranche payments. Tranche 1, released on gazetting subject to baseline compliance and confirmation of contractual obligation. The second tranche be released upon independent verification of delivery progress, particularly around the rolling stock milestones. And that the third tranche would be released only upon confirmation of adequate governance and financial management controls and absence of material irregularities. Addition to that, National Treasury could be requested to report quarterly to the Committee on Progress and Compliance and withhold or delay further transfers where conditions are not met. This approach does not introduce new policy, but applies existing PFMA provision to strengthen accountability and safeguard the appropriation. So, Chair, that is basically, we are saying we don't want to stop it, but we are saying that we're not just going to accept that the full transfer will be done, but it will be done in tranches. and it will be done subject to what I have submitted. I will put that in the chat box, Chair. I think that's my submission.
Thank you very much, Honorable Waitlin. Is there a member who would like to make submissions on this point? This speaks to broadly how the tranches, as far as the broadness of the bill, are considered, and it will feature as part of the work that must occur in the committee's findings and recommendations. Honorable Kalega Mazibuko, let me recognize you, and then I will get back to Honorable Makakula, and then I think as a committee we need to be able to work out what we do, having heard the materiality of the arguments that have been advanced. Honorable Kalega Mazibuko, you are recognized.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm not sure. Let me show my face and then I will switch off. Can you see me, Chair?
I can see you. I wanted to, yes, you are recognized, yes.
All right, Chair. May I please switch off my video for the effectiveness of the bandwidth? Thank you. Yeah. Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity. Firstly, let me indicate that the DA, through Honorable Waitlin, did in fact canvass the position and the amendment as articulated by Honorable Member Waitlin. And I indicated to him that as the ANC, we are going to apply our mind on it, and we will be presenting in this meeting. Chair, let me firstly indicate that the ANC do support the principle of performance-linked allocations, to ensure quality of spending. And also the restructuring, we believe, Chair, that the restructuring of the required milestone requires the National Treasury PRASA to determine. So we do not believe that as Parliament, we should be prescriptive on an operationally linked matter. And the members should hear me well. We are not denying the fact that there are challenges that are documented in PRASA. We also know that there is a turnaround strategy that has been put in place. However, we are saying we support the principle. Hence, we say we support the principle of performance-linked allocation to ensure that there is quality in spending, and also the issue of the Section 38J. That is, we know that is about written assurance and the condition from the entity that the entity make sure that there's effective implementation of administration and practices and efficiency, as well as transparent financial management, and in making sure that there are internal controls that are in place in making sure that the money is spent. However, Chair, we are proposing a particular formulation rather than being prescriptive on how the money should be allocated, especially in terms of trenches, because we believe that there's a contractual arrangement of how this money is going to be used and the time frame, therefore. So if we agree in allocating the money in trenches, then the Department of PRASA might then violate the contractual arrangement that is there, which the money would have been allocated. So we are proposing, without declining the principle, we are proposing the different formulation, and we'll also submit it. We're saying the committee recommends that National Treasury apply Section 38J and consider conditional performance-linked payments with measurable milestone. Furthermore, the National Treasury is to report quarterly to the Committee on Progress and Compliance. So that's our proposal, Chair, in supporting the proposal of the DA in principle, without determining for the department, without being involved in operational matters. Thank you.
Let me allow Honorable Magagula, Mr. Magagula, sorry, I apologize. If you can then respond as the content advisor on the conversation that is being had.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, colleagues, good morning. Chairperson, I just want to respond in two ways for both Honorable Weklin and Honorable Kalega Mazubu. I will start with Honorable Weklin, the suggestion of what he feels we need to include on the report. The points Honorable Weklin are valid. I agree with you. The unfortunate part is that the bill, if you look at the bill itself, it's structured, it has got two schedules. It has got Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. And then the Schedule 2, the discussion that we are having now is the issue around PRASA with the 5.8 billion, which is in Schedule 2. Unfortunately, Honorable Weklin, that allocation has been made in terms of Section 6 of the Appropriations Act of 2025. Honorable Weklin, the money has already exchanged hands. The Minister of Finance, what is it doing in terms of that section is just seeking concurrence from Parliament. So the conditions that you are suggesting are not going to work now, unfortunately, because the money has already been given to PRASA. If, for an example, I can just quickly give you a background of this thing. PRASA has got a multi-year contract, or government, if I will say, with Gibela in that Danota plant where they produce these blue trains. So basically, it's not the issue of the non-performance of the contractor, which is Gibela, but it's the issue that relates to PRASA having financial issues and then liquidity challenges, being unable to meet their contractual obligations, whereby when Gibela delivers this contract, these trains, PRASA must pay. And then PRASA doesn't have the money to pay. They don't have the cash in their bank to pay. And then the Minister of Finance, through this Section 6 of the Appropriations Act of 2025, I'm going to invite you again now. We are still going, from next week, we are dealing with the Appropriations Bill. I'm inviting all honorable members, please read the bill clause by clause, because this is the power that you gave to the Minister of Finance when you passed the Appropriations Bill last year. So now he has already given the money to PRASA. So Honorable Weklin, if you want to say it must be the trenches, I'm using what you are saying, honestly, to say trench 1, we must have this condition or that condition. It's not going to work because the money is already gone. What the Minister of Finance is seeking in that Schedule 2 of the bill is concurrent. The money is no longer there. I think if you want to make recommendation, it can be futuristic. I don't know how we are going to make it future to say in the future, this is what must happen. But in as far as that 5.8 billion is concerned in Schedule 2 of the bill, the money is no longer there. It's with PRASA. And if PRASA, we don't know whether PRASA has already paid the money to Gibela, but it's no longer with Treasury. So making recommendations to say, let's put conditions on the transfers, it's no longer going to work. The money is gone. Secondly, the issues of trenches, honorable members and colleagues, we will not be allowed to even if this money was still with the National Treasury or in the National Revenue Fund, we're not going to be allowed to determine how the trenches are going to be distributed. Like, for an example, we are saying, Honorable Weklin, trench 1, trench 2, trench 3, with different conditions. The distribution of funds, which flows from out of the National Revenue Fund to government institutions, is determined by the drawing schedule. There is a drawing schedule that these departments agree with National Treasury at the beginning of the financial year. Ultimately, those drawing schedules, they determine the borrowing requirements of government, which is the state. And then that function falls with the finance committee of Parliament, both the National Assembly and the NSOP, the standing committees. We are not privy to the drawing schedules. We are not given the drawing schedules. We don't know how much is going to be drawn from this month to that month. So we are not going to be prescribed on that, because that falls within the Finance Committee, because ultimately it determines how much government is going to borrow every month and all that. So it's not our function. But in essence, Honorable Waklin, what you are saying, it's very valid. But unfortunately, what you are saying can only apply in Schedule 1 of the bill, where the funds have not exchanged hands. But the Schedule 2, in as far as PRASA is concerned in the bill, the money is long gone. The minister is seeking concurrence. And if you look at the act that we recommended last year that it must be passed, which is the Appropriation Bill, which is section 6 of that act, we recommend the Minister of Finance must only report, table this appropriation after he has allocated that money using his discretion. Within 120 days, he must table like an appropriation bill. He has done so. So I'm saying, I hear you. I understand the frustration that you are having around the issues of PRASA, but unfortunately, the train has moved. I can clarify if there are any questions, Chairperson. Thank you. I will stop there now.
Mr. Magakula, the comment is noted. Unfortunately, when it comes to PRASA, the train has not moved. I recognized. I see Ulrika from NT is here, and then I will then get back to Honorable Wakelin. And then what I'd like us to do is, because I don't want a conversation bilaterally amongst parties, it's a committee discussion. I felt the conversation was important in how it aligns the rest of the bill so that we get a common understanding of what we deal with, so that when we get to the rest of the mechanisms of the bill, we are not dealing with the difficulties of understanding what we are, or of being consistent in what we are dealing with, so that we don't end up having a backwards and forwards conversation. Ulrika?
Chair, thank you, and good morning to the honourable members and colleagues on the call. Chair, let me just clarify. What Sifis is referring to relates to Schedule 2 allocations. The Minister of Finance's powers in terms of Section 6 of the Appropriation Act only refers to allocations that are in Schedule 1. So where funds have already flown, subject to what was included in the contingency reserve as at the time of the MTBPS, only applies to Schedule 1 allocations, not to the Schedule 2 allocations. That includes the allocations to PRASA. Thank you.
Honorable Wakelin, let me take your inputs.
Yeah, let me start off by saying, Chair, I absolutely 100% agree with you. The trains have not moved. And that's exactly why we are here where we are here. And I am extremely concerned now. If professional advisor, gives us contradictory advice and the committee abides to that and we commit to that, and only to find out later it comes back and it bites us. Chair, I really think that matter on its own must be dealt with. If what National Treasury say is correct, then my position stands, our submission stands, and we cannot move on that. Chair, if we cannot keep on doing the same thing and expect different answers and different outcomes, then it brings me to the broader context of this submission, Chair. Going into the future, this is the type of submissions that you can expect from us, and particularly around this particular clause, because there is wide range powers available that we could utilize and submit and ensure that the Director General does his job, so that we as a committee can do our job and ensure that the money is well spent and that we get value for money and return on our investment. For too long, we have seen what PRASA does, and we cannot allow that any further, Chair. I accept that the ANC has got a counter proposal. It is a very broad counter proposal that does not assist this committee in navigating and measuring performance like we should. Thank you, Chair.
Can I just ask a direct question, Ulrike? What is the funds that we are in discussion with? have they been transferred yet or not? Because this deals with the second part. I think we all agree on the first part, the principle of accountability, the principle of the conditions being met, we all accept. The tranches, the question that is being put forward here, are things that cannot be applicable now, pending on where the state of the funds is at. Maybe National Treasury, if you can give me a response on that issue, and then I'd like for us to get onto the bill itself.
Okay. Chair, all the allocations that are set out in Schedule 2 of the bill, that includes the PRASA amount, the amounts for the IFC, and the amount, the 700 million rand for Centec, has not been transferred. There's no authority for the Minister of Finance to allow the departments to withdraw that money. The only funds that have already been transferred are the funds that are set out in Schedule 1 of the bill, and that was done in terms of Section 6 of the Appropriation Act.
Okay. Mr. Magakula, I see your hand. Can you respond to that?
It's a legacy hand, Chairperson. As long as the colleague has already highlighted, I'm fine with that. But yeah, but as I've said to you, Chairperson, I can accept what Honorable Wacklin is saying, but again, I'm saying I wouldn't want us to determine how these funds are supposed to be distributed to press, but we can find a way of saying how do we put these conditions. But otherwise, I wouldn't want this committee to end up doing the work that is supposed to be done by the Standing Committee on Finance, in as far as and then now end up determining how the flow of funds to press is concerned. But I can take the recommendations, but I want us to trend carefully without us finding ourselves in a situation where we end up doing the work of the Standing Committee on Finance.
I'm going to take one last submission, and then I want to propose a way forward in dealing with this matter. Honorable Talega Mazibuko, your proposal has been put forward. Yes, Honorable Talega Mazibuko.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, agreeing with what the content advisor has just said now, he has partly covered me. One would be happy if National Treasury could also respond to the issue of the contractual agreement in terms of the disbursement of this money. That even though she says the money has not yet been received or allocated or received, what is the contractual agreement? By when should this money be used? So if maybe possible, she can speak on the contractual agreement, because I think the way the DA is proposing in terms of the trenches allocation is not practically possible in terms of the usage of this amount. Thank you.
So, Honorable Waitlin, what I'm going to suggest that we do at this point, because I see your hand now, I'm going to ask Mr. Magakula. Honorable Waitlin has put this matter on the chat. Honorable Talega Mazibuko, can I ask you to do likewise in terms of the proposal as put forward by the ANC? Mr. Magakula, I'm going to ask you to look at both those matters. We are going to start going through the report page by page. When we get to the recommendations, may I then at that point ask for a consolidated recommendation from the committee? Because for me, there are two fundamental principles here. The one principle is the question of accountability. The second question, which I'm certain the committee cannot be swimming in, is being able to split what the executive's allocation to PRASA is. So that I'm still challenged by as a question that Honorable Waitlin has put forward. But overall, in terms of applying conditionality to any, we've done the same when we dealt with appropriations to ESCOM. Now we're doing likewise in this particular report. So I would think that there can be a way of accommodating that. And then the one component about the tranches was the question that I was still a little bit hesitant on. But Mr. Magakula, I've taken the note. May I give you the task that as we go through it right now through the report, you can then be able to, let's put together something that is consistent with what allows us in law, what the committee can recommend, and without interfering, or rather being the committee that also runs how, in this sense, the nature of the tranches in how they go ahead, because I would think that gets to that responds to the question that Honorable Talega Mazibuko has put forward on concurrence. Honorable members, let me.
Sorry, Chairperson. I just want, sorry to, without raising my hand. Chairperson, I will say, I hear what you are saying, but then I will, the difficulty that I will have is to say, even if we want to put conditions to this allocation, and I will ask Orika, my colleague there, to say, what type of conditions, given the situations that we are having at PRASA, what will be the condition? Because it's the Minister of Finance who must impose then conditions to. If we are saying we want conditions, what are the type of conditions generally that we want as Parliament that we can say maybe if we agree? Because ultimately, the Minister of Finance then is the one who must then impose those conditions to PRASA. That's why I'm saying, Chairperson, let's not past this point, because if we do it, and then I will end up writing with, okay, let's put conditions, but what are the kind of conditions that we want as Parliament? And I hope the colleagues from Treasury, because ultimately it's the Minister of Finance who must impose those conditions to this allocation. What is it that we want? So that I write something that is a bit clear where what the direction is of the committee. What do we want?
The committee is asking for greater scrutiny and accountability. I don't think the committee can write the terms and conditions for tranches. That is where I'm struggling as things stand at the moment. We're asking for accountability. We're asking for an ability to be able to say those conditions that have already been agreed on. It's not the job now to try and increase or decrease or whatever. That PRASA must report on a regular basis. And I think that's what I think both the ANC and the DA, at least at the top, are asking for. The further question that Honorable Wakelin is putting forward is how the tranches work. And I'm not certain that the committee can make that recommendation. So that is the debate. Honorable Wakelin and then Honorable Sekete.
Thank you, Chair. Let us just read the Act. It's not the Minister, it's the DG. And that's the reason why we didn't want to go back to the bill and do an adjustment and amendment in the bill. We are going back to the regulations that are clear, that there's a DG that does this implementation and decide on his record what he's going to allow and not allow. So, Chair, that is where we are.
Oh, okay, I hear you there, Honorable Wakelin. Honorable Sekete.
No, thank you, Chair. Maybe before you refer this to Makakula, there was a question which was asked by Honorable Talega Mazibuko. If we will be able to be answered that, and then maybe we can maybe make maybe a decision around this. When is the fund supposed to be used? The last date to be spent? If maybe, Chair, it says at the end of April, or maybe at the end of May, is there still needed to be tranches? So that was the question which was raised by Honorable Talega Mazibuko. Maybe if we be able to be asked that, to be answered with that question.
I hear the nature of your question. This is supposed to be done by the 10th of May. Ulrika, can you maybe give clarity about the date and maybe to give your thoughts as to your motivation for, because the question centrally speaks to the question of tranches. And that's what I'm saying, that with what Honorable Wakelin is saying as far as the DG is concerned, that, and what I want to do is I want to make sure that the committee can do its job without interfering in finance or traversing the legality of this issue. But I want to make sure that it achieves the question that the committee, both parties are asking, is that we've seen problems at PRASA. How do we enhance accountability using the PFMA and the prescribed laws that we are working with? So maybe, Ulrika, the 10th of May was the prescribed date that the Minister of Finance wants this bill passed by. I don't imagine tranches can work in that sense. Can I get clarity on that question if you can give me guidance on that regard?
All, Chair, we say that expenditure up to 31 May 2026 will be counted as part of expenditure for the 2025-26 financial year. So if this bill is assented to on, say, on or before or on the 10th of May, we would then have until the 31st of May to make sure that all these requirements are being met. And notwithstanding the responsibilities that the accounting officer has within Section 38 of the PFMA, that all those are met before the expiration date that we have in the bill of the 31 May. If that money, if they haven't met those requirements by 31 May and money cannot flow to PRASA by that date, this money then becomes underspending on the vote of the Department of Transport, and then it becomes subject to the rollover process that we then have. That money then gets rolled over and it forms part of the contingency reserve and what needs to happen with the budget for the 2026-27 financial year. Just from a practicality point of view, the timelines are tight, but Section 38(1)J of the PFMA would require the DG of transport to ensure that all of these things are in place, and just from what is in the chat for the different tranches, that is part of the normal work that the Department of Transport would have to do in any case before funds can flow, and we can ask them to write a report to us before they do all of those things. So setting conditions is the Minister of Finance, as soon as this bill is assented to, he's able to then set those conditions, and we would then have, 20 days, 21 days to make sure that everything is in place before the Department of Transport sends the money to PRASA. It may not be practical to do it in tranches, just given the timing, but it doesn't take away from setting conditionalities that they would be required to report on, both to us and for us to report to this committee on within those 21 days. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Ulrika. And I think that's a very helpful discussion. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to ask Honorable Sfiso, Mr. Makakula, you've seen the conversations on the chat. What the committee is now asking for, concurrent with what both Honorable Kalega Mazibuko and Honorable Waitlin has said, are the conditions that have been set there for accountability purposes, the reporting mechanisms. I would argue that the conversation around tranches is not one that we can be able to achieve in the short space of time. And therefore, once those are then in place, may I recommend that you look at what's on the chat, write it out in a manner that can be acceptable within the report. And then when we get to the recommendations, we can deal with it there. Can that work, Honorable Makakula? You've seen all the conversation that is taking place in the chat. And I'm giving you time while we go through section by section of the report.
It's okay, Honorable Chair, as long as if the committee will be happy about that it's fine. But I will also still argue that the reporting on this matter shouldn't be exceptional to PRASA, because all the expenditure reports, they must come to the committee by every quarter. It's a legal requirement. But if it has to be emphasized in this report, I'm happy.
So if you can put together the text and then we can work from it there. Let's then, honorable members, go back to the report. I think this is an important discussion because I wanted to make sure that it is at the top so that we give ourselves time to go through it. What I will then do is, honorable members, go page by page of the report. Mr. Denver, can you put it there in front? This is the draft report tabled here. Honorable members, I am working with, I always prefer that these meetings are in person, so I'm working with multiple devices. If I don't see your hand when you raise it, please use your voice, interject, ask to speak, and then I will recognize you. Let's begin with page 1, which effectively just gives background to where this bill comes from, date, etc., and the introduction. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Now we get to page 9, which begins the conversation really about the recommendations. Page 9. So, given that we've arrived here at page 9, I'm going to get, just before we finish, we get to page 10, and then I think we should then finalize the recommendation that is being moved into the bill. Mr. Magakula, have you got some form of a text that you can share that we can copy and paste into the body of this particular report?
Okay, I've got my hand up.
Yebo, Honorable Kalega Mazibuga, I apologize. Zangi ngukubone ngiyaxolisa. Honorable Kalega Mazibuga, you are recognized.
Okay, Chair. I think the pages, we're on page 10. I think the members might be confused by pages. At least I was hoping that when you reach to recommendations, you would maybe call recommendations by numbers, like recommendation 5.1, 5.2, 5.3. However, I would want to speak to recommendation 5.4.
So, Honorable Kalega Mazibuga, before you speak to recommendation 5.4, I wanted to finalize the conversation we've been having. That goes, but maybe let me, because we are now
No, then it's fine.
on
No, then
page.
it's fine. I thought you were done. So that's why
No, we are not done.
We've got our members who would want to speak on the recommendations.
I ask Mama is
Thank you.
I just wanted to get the text that Honorable that we have been discussing on the first point that Honorable Wakelin and yourself have spoken on, so that we can insert that as part of this particular recommendation. Honorable Mr. Makakul,
Chairman, thank you very much.
Mm.
I think probably, I don't know, I will read as I've written it here, is that the Minister of Transport ensures that the Passenger Rail Agents of South Africa, which is PRASA, quarterly reports to Parliament on the disbursement and utilization of the proposed 5.8 billion allocations towards the PRASA Rolling Stock Fleet Renewal Program obligations to Gibela.
Is that, and so
is that what I've written? That's what I've written.
Honorable Wakelin, you want to respond to that? I think it augments. Can I ask that, Swiso, you put that just under, it speaks to 5.2, 5.3, so it can augment 5.2 because it goes to just before 5.3. I want to include it there so that 5.3 becomes then 5.4, but we will move on accordingly. Honorable Wakelin, you are recognized. Honorable Wakelin, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Can I request Mr. Makagula to please post it in writing, because we are talking about each other. I would like to have it on the chat group so that I can just look at it. Thank you.
Okay. And also then to Honorable Galega Mazibuko, if you can have a look at that particular matter, because we are trying to bring synergy between the input you've made and the input that Honorable Wakelin has made. Can I then, in proceeding to that issue, Honorable Galega Mazibuko, I'm going to ask you to multitask, but 5.4 was the point you wanted to raise while we are busy, is posting this issue. But before we get there, Mr. Magagula, are you able to post it there? Which is recommendation 5.3 as we're speaking. Yebo, your hand is recognized?
Yes, I don't know if because the colleague, I can just, like, as we are speaking here, like I can just say what I'm saying, and then the colleague can type so that everybody's satisfied about what we are doing, because I can read it to Denver and write it Denver as I'm reading it to you, so that if we agree on the text. I don't want to go on the other side and write something wrong here.
So are you able to paste it onto the chat? That's the question.
No, not.
Are you able to WhatsApp it to Denver?
Yes, I will do that, Chairperson.
Do that, and then Denver, you can put it in the report that is before us. Honorable Bateman, okay. Are you speaking to this point that is being debated at the point in time? Honorable Bateman?
Chair, thank you. Good morning to you, Honorable Chair, and Honorable members. Apologies for my hearing, it's not 100%, but I do have a suggested addition to 5.2, just to extend 5.2. I don't know if this is an appropriate moment. I could put it on the chat if that helps, or I could read it.
Yeah, just hold on 1 second. Let's just finish the submission that has been made now. Denver, can you put that on there if you've got it already?
I'm still sending it, Chairperson, to Denver. Okay,
honorable members, given that there's still some logistical issues that we have to work here, let me take honorable. Because we're going to go through it sequentially, let's finish 5.2. So this is a lot for Denver to try and manage, because we are working with one person. So I'm going to hold off until it can be presented in front there before us. I don't want us to get confused. Denver, you should get there. Now you should have it from Mr. Magagula.
Good morning, Chair. Mr. Magagula is still typing at the moment.
Yes.
As soon as I receive it, keep us now posted.
Okay. Let me. While you are waiting for that, Honorable Bateman, can you then proceed on the augmentation you want to make for 5.2, and then we can deal with that and dispense of it.
Yes, thanks, Honorable Chair. So at the end of that 5.2, I would say, instead of the full stop, say comma, and that National Treasury applies conditions to the proposed allocations to mitigate the risk of UIFWE, and tables these conditions before the committee at the earliest opportunity.
Can you give broader clarity on the UIFWE? Sorry.
So this is obviously unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. And so that the National Treasury put in conditions, be particularly vigilant about the risk of that, and report to us on how they propose to give us a level of assurance that there will not be any UIFWE arising from these allocations.
No, I don't. Are there any other member who would like to speak on that particular point? Honorable Mkondo, you are recognized.
No, Chair, I'm not on that point. I'm on something else.
Okay, I will revert back to you on that score. Is there a member who objects to the proposal that has been made by Honorable Bateman? I think, broadly speaking, you can't say it enough to say that we must obviously avoid that risk, and that condition is put on the table. So I don't foresee a major difficulty on this regard. Is there a member who objects or to that particular wording or recommendation being augmented as such? Okay, right. Let's put then 5.3. It's a new 5.3, which comes from the conversation we've been having. Honorable Mkhonto, I've recognized you. I will revert back to you. Mr. Magagula, have you sent the text to Denver?
Yes, I've shared it in the group, Chairperson.
Okay. Honorable Mkhonto, ngicela okay, let uzokhuluma on this 5.3 entsha, or you are introducing a new point?
No, it's a general point, Chair. As
Okay.
as we from the Minister of Transport were requesting for quarterly reports, but with 5.4, with the Minister of Digital Technologies, there are no time frames, and the 5.5 with the speaker, no frequency, no time frames. And another thing, Chair, I wanted to ask from Mr. Makakula through you, are these recommendations able to separate our roles and responsibilities as the Standing Committee of Appropriations and the relevant portfolio committees of these departments? Thank you, Chair.
No, I've got you, Honorable Mkhonto, in that regard. It's on 5.4. So when we deal with 5.4, I will then take your point and then we will put it there. Honorable Bateman, is this a legacy hand or is it a new point? Okay.
Apologies, that's a legacy hand. I've withdrawn. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we then get on to Mr. Makakula? I see your hand and I see you've pasted it on the group. Whilst it has been pasted on the group, Denver, can you copy it and put it on the report as the new 5.3? Now, 5.3, Mr. Makakula, let me allow you to go, and then I will allow Honorable Wakelin to go. Mr. Makakula?
Honorable Chairperson, thank you. I just want to clarify this point to Honorable Mkhonto. Honorable Mkhonto, if you look towards the end of the report, basically we don't say in each and every recommendation that when the respective executive authorities must respond, but we say towards the end, you can see that a response to our recommendations must be responded to in 60 days after the adoption of the committee's reports by the National Assembly. So we don't necessarily in each and every recommendation make a specific date to say when they must respond, but we are giving them 60 days, which is about 2 months after the report has been adopted by the National Assembly to respond to the committee recommendations.
Okay.
Thanks, Chair.
Noted. Okay. Honorable Wakelin, I see your hand is up. Now we're speaking to the new 5.3 so that we all know where we are.
Okay, Chair, we're at 5.3. What Mr. Makakula has posted, the last portion of the sentence is exactly the same as what Honorable Bateman has submitted. I think it adds no value. It makes no sense. And the matter of tranches is not specifically highlighted here, Chair. We cannot allow that.
Honorable Bateman, Wakelin, the question about tranches, and this is something that we need to finalize here and now. You've heard the input from, and Denver, just take note, National Treasury must apply conditions. You can remove that because it's the same as in 5.2. That sentence you can remove. Yeah. Now, on this particular point, there are two views that are emerging here. The first is that, as expressed by Honorable Galega Mazibuko, that the committee cannot get into operational matters, tranches. Honorable Wakelin, you are suggesting that tranches need to be part of this particular conditions. Ulrika from National Treasury has indicated the fact that the tranches will not be met in the time frame that is specified by the end of the financial year, otherwise the funds become rollover. Those are the three views. Now, I want to go back to you, Honorable Wakelin, and say, given that there seems clearly the question of practicality around tranches not feasible for this particular financial year, which is the nature of the bill that we are dealing with. That is at least my impression. I would like to hear your response to that particular point. Thank you, Honorable Wakelin.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It was expressly told that the money has not been dispersed yet, and it is into this new financial year with this phased-in approach is recommended. So it can be part of the recommendation, and it was set as part of the DG's requirements that will be submitted. They can work out the project plans around that and and resubmit the project plans based on the tranches. It's not the question of something that is practically impossible. It's very possible because it's future dated. And it's for that reason that I request that we continue with that approach, because once we let the money flow in totality, that's where the issues are, because they are historical experiences of this, and that's for that reason that we are quite aware of that situation. So it is not a question of it's impossible. It's a question of reworking the project plan, and based on the project plan, tranches will be set. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kalega, you had raised objection to the question of tranches. Honorable Bateman says it is practicable. I would recommend that. The one thing I know for a fact is we can't decide what the quantum per tranche is, but at least on that point, we need to work through. Honorable Kalega, let me hear your responses to this issue.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I think as this committee, we have to be reasonable enough. I think as the ANC, we've made argument, especially on the issue of allocation by trenches. So we've put reasons that one, as you say as well, we cannot be involved in operational matters. Number two, National Treasury has indicated that this brings the rollover risk, and we cannot allow that as the committee, particularly as the ANC. We cannot allow that. We're saying, Chair, we are not agreeing to, and also the question that we've asked many a times on the contractual agreement. So as the ANC, we are fine with the way the content advisor has phrased 5.3. We are not agreeing to the allocation by trenches. We think that will be waste of time and creating difficult conditions for the department to make usage of the funds that have been approved and allocated. Thank you.
Mr. Makakula, let me get your responses on this issue.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Kalega Mazubuko has covered me, even though I'm not raising it from the ANC's perspective. Chairperson, as Orica has already indicated that the money should be used by the end of May 2026. I don't think that we are serving any purpose if we are saying we want to make recommendations on how the money should be spent in trenches. Like I said, as long as we are not privy to the drawing schedule and how the money is going to flow, that responsibility still lies with the Standing Committee on Finance. I am honestly thinking that as we have recommended here, this should be sufficient to cover what we do as a committee without necessarily going to now the finance part, which is dealt with by that committee of parliament, which is our committee as well as honorable members here. So I'm requesting that we allow this issue of trenches to, we just ignore it. Because otherwise we are saying otherwise, if we're talking about trenches, then we must know exactly what in that 5.8 billion, how much is going when and how much is going when. So if we don't have that information, I am requesting the committee that as we have phrased 5.3, we can leave the issue of the trenches. There are other available mechanisms that we can use to hold this institution accountable. If we want the report from BASA, there is nothing stopping us as a committee calling PRASA to say, PRASA, come, let's deal with the 5.8 billion later in the day. But I wouldn't suggest that we confine ourselves into conditions that speaks to different trenches when we even don't know how much is going to flow on what date. So I'm requesting with honesty, we can leave that. We can still call PRASA to come to us at a later date, Chairperson.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, the one thing we do know is that the funds, from what my understanding is, that the funds need to be dispersed before the end of the financial year. I think it would not be unreasonable that to add further to the recommendation that the drawing schedule be part of the response that National Treasury give oversight to ensure that all the conditions are met as the consistent with the drawing schedule. Then it is not us to determine the tranches, but then what we are saying is that the conditions must be met continuously as the drawing, if you understand what I'm saying, as per the prescribed drawing schedule, because I was not part of that. Honorable Wakely, let me recognize you.
Yeah, Chair, maybe somebody must please explain to me in plain language. Are you going to build trains before end of May of 5.8 billion rand? Because that's what you actually are saying. You're saying that we are going to pay them, and by end of May, the trains will be there. And I'm of the view, Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
I'm of the view, Chair. We are facing, by the looks of it, again, another fruitless, or not fruitless, more irregular expenditure that's happening here. Possibly work has been done, and they are under pressure now to pay, and they have given the go-ahead to do this work without considering the financial position. And that's the position that I think we are facing ourselves with. And that's a big concern for me, Chair. Unless somebody can explain to me how did we arrive to the point that we do an approval and expend the money before the end of May, and it will only come thereafter. I just need to get that clarity, because it's very clear to me that the work has been done and not been paid for.
No, I think for me, to deal with a particular report is to highlight the question of the drawing schedule, make sure the conditions are met, because we've already made the point above to avoid fruitless and wasteful expenditure. As to the question you are asking, which is whether the trains have been built or not built, that one is not something that is contained within the bill and one that we can respond to. Unless, Ulrika, you've got additional information you'd like to add to this issue, I think we need to be able to seal this particular point or bring it to the members for a vote. So, Ulrike, let me get some more input from you, if there is any.
This application relates to two things. The first, I think, is that's important to understand is that we have a government gazette with a fiscal commitment for 53 billion rand in 2014 prices over a long period of time for the delivery of these trains. There is a delivery schedule, and on the delivery schedule, there's a mismatch between how trains gets delivered and what is in the PRASA budget. Some of this money will be used, in fact, I think all of this money will be used for trains that have already been manufactured. So, for example, in the current contract, PRASA is expected to take delivery of 62 trains in 2025-26. They have asked, and they can't take delivery of those trains because they don't have the full money to pay for all of that. They have, I think if we divide that equally, PRASA then takes delivery of trains on a monthly basis. So there are trains that are waiting for them to be taken delivery that they haven't paid for, and this 5.8 billion rand pays for a large component of that. The shortfall actually is closer to 11 billion rand. But we have also asked PRASA to renegotiate this contract so that the delivery of these trains is aligned with the PRASA, with the budget. So right now there's a misalignment, and part of this alignment is historically because of three things. Massive delays within this project program that meant that we then also cut the budget in relation to all of that. There was a scale up in the delivery schedule that isn't consistent with the way that we have scaled it up in the budget. And then there are a whole range of retention fees and stuff, and fees that relates to just some of the adjustments that gets made within the contract. So it's the retention fees, the contract price adjustments that they have to make, that wasn't provided for in the budget that got us to this point. And that is why we think that this 5.8 billion rand would help them to take delivery of the trains that have already been manufactured, and they don't have to pay for the penalties that's associated with this. Thank you.
Honorable Wakin.
You see, Chair, that's the point I wanted to arrive at. Again, decisions were made without proper consultation with National Treasury, go beyond what was expected. And that brings me to a second possible recommendation, that a further forensic investigation has to be done on this current special appropriation. How did we arrive to this position? It is very clear, based on the 3 submissions that she's made, that somebody has made decisions without really consulting National Treasury, putting us in this corner and putting pressure on us again to expend money that we cannot afford. Whereas originally there should have been previous negotiations done, which was not done. That brings me to the first point. The second point is, Chair, it concerns me that we continue now again to support this special appropriation based on the evidence or the information that came forward now. It is really a big concern now for me. So, Chair, you need to live with a conscience, decide that we are going to protect again another lot of officials that made decisions, whereas money was not available to pay for them. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, I'm going to make a recommendation as per the submissions that have been made by NT, made by Honorable Waking. The recommendation reads that the Minister of Transport ensures that PRASA's quarterly reports to Parliament in the disbursements and utilization of proposed 5.8 billion allocation towards PRASA's rolling stock fleet renewal program and contractual obligation in the Gibela contract. I want to add, Mr. Makakula, that the drawing schedule ensure that conditions are met, and then I think it bears repeating that where the conditions are not met, that funds effectively, I think, which is the point that Honorable Wakelin is making, and I'm phrasing this as we're speaking, that ultimately where there are issues where conditions are not met, and part of those conditions is avoiding wasteful and fruitless expenditure, that no further funding must continue. This project has been ongoing for a while. And therein lies the dilemma, is that you keep pouring money with people who are not meeting conditions of ensuring that money isn't wasted. And I think as a committee, we have every right to do so. On the second question, Honorable Wakelin, about a forensic audit that goes into this issue, may I urge that that is a separate matter that does not deal with the bill. A forensic audit can be undertaken. We could call for it. I think the appropriate structures must be able to call for it, but it doesn't deal with the special appropriations bill. I think that is an operational question that deals with where PRASA is at. And I would urge that as a committee, we need to be able to, if we make that call agreeably, which I support the view that we want to eliminate corruption and wasteful expenditure, that must be made, but I'm not sure. In fact, I am certain it's not in the bill. It doesn't deal with the piece of legislation that we have, or otherwise we're dealing with the Oversight Committee on Transport in this regard. Yes, Honorable Wakelin, I recognize your hand.
Chair, you're 100% correct, but I just thought I'd put it on record, and I will make a further submission to your office for a request that we will draft that specific matter somewhere.
Perfect. Mr. Makakula. Mr. Makakula, your hand is up. You are
Yes, Chairperson. I agree. For the sake of continuity, I think I agree with you, but it's going to be a challenge again. I just want to put it to you. It's going to be a challenge again, because issues of fruitless and wasteful expenditure, you can only realize that when the money has already been spent. But for the sake of continuity, I agree with you. But fruitless and wasteful expenditure and irregular expenditure, you only realize it when the money has already gone, with something went wrong. But
yeah, but
for the sake of continuity, I hear you.
This project is a multi-year project. I think we can live with the recommendation as it is because it's multi-year. So you can't then say, well, the money has been appropriated, let's just keep going. There's a history here that deals with it. But I think in as far as the recommendation that's been put, it doesn't leave the committee to be swimming in waters that are operational. Then I think the recommendation therefore reads. If there are no further objections, can we then move towards 5.4? Honorable Kalega Mazibuko, you wanted to raise something on 5.4.
No, Chair, the Honorable Sikede will be raising the amendment on 5.4 on behalf of the ANC. I was intervening because I thought we had passed.
No, we are not passed. I have a sharp memory, Honorable Kalega Mazibuko. This is Honorable Sikede.
No, thank you, Chair. Mine is on 5.4, and I think it'll be 5.5 now.
Oh, you mean the recommendation formerly known as 5.4?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is now 5.5.
Yes, you can proceed.
Yeah. Chair, we partially agree with the recommendation, but we also want to make an addition, Chair. But I'll try to read it. The Speaker of the National Assembly ensures that Parliament provides a comprehensive report to the Standing Committee on Appropriation and the Standing Committee of Finance on actual expenditure and total estimated cost of the rebuilding of Parliament. And the committee wants to satisfy itself where am I now? The committee wants to satisfy itself both on the reasonability of this cost whilst ensuring and want to add something, the project is within its allocated budget and avoid cost overruns, and then ends there. And the cost of overruns may be to be removed. That is my submission, Chair, to the committee.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can remove the rest there, Denver. Is there a member who would like to speak either in support or opposition of that recommendation as it's been tabled? Honorable Sikete, I think the recommendation doesn't change materially. The point that the committee wants to make is that there must be a report because we see Parliament being built. We are unclear whether the report can be tabled to finance, etc. Mr. Makakula, can we make a recommendation on behalf of another committee?
No, not necessarily. Yes, Honorable Chair, we shouldn't do that because what is an objective or a strategic objective for this committee might not necessarily be for another committee. So if they are not interested in this, we shouldn't say they must be given this report. So if the committee wants this report, it must come to the committee. But if finance doesn't want it, we can't tell them what they should want. So we can remove finance.
Yeah. So Honorable Sikete, may I make a suggestion that we remove the component of finance because I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of another committee. I'd also it is their duty, but I think as far as the broadness of the recommendations, which is for the Speaker to table that, if we want a joint sitting with the Committee of Finance, we're more than welcome to do so. Let me hear Honorable Kalega Mazibuko and then Honorable Sikete. You can respond. Yes, Honorable Kalega Mazibuko.
Thank you very much. I think the point we're making here, the reason why we are involving the financial management of Parliament is that the Speaker does not necessarily report or accountable to appropriations. So there are quarterly reports that are being submitted to the financial management of Parliament, and we should not be seen as taking over the role of that committee, but we can together monitoring, especially the appropriations as the appropriations committee, but the speaker does not necessarily report to us on quarterly basis, but we can get the information because we are the ones who are appropriating fund. I think maybe the advisor would advise us on how to phrase it, but we did not want it to be seen as taking over the role of another committee. Thank you.
So the financial management of Parliament is a different committee to the Finance Committee. So my difficulty was that the recommendation that Honorable Segeta move off the floor pertained to the Finance Committee, which is the Standing Committee on Finance, rather than the Financial Management of Parliament Committee, which are two separate ones. If I can get clarity on that. Mr. Magagula, before I get you to respond, let me recognize Honorable Mkhonto. Honorable Mkhonto. Honorable Mkhonto, you are recognized.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to check, Chair, if the last sentence that has been added by the ANC, if we are not preempting the report that we are requesting from the Office of the Speaker, maybe there is something they know that we don't know. Because if they say, as far as possible, to redirect government limited resources towards other pressing service delivery needs, is there anything that these colleagues know that we don't know? And are we not preempting the report that we are requesting? Thank you.
Honorable Mkhonto, if I was not mistaken, I did ask for Denver to remove that line. That's why it's highlighted. I don't think it should remain, given the fact that, sure, whatever, if there are wasteful expenditure, whatever the issue is, those monies must go to various things. But this is a specific one. I think Honorable Segeta, in moving the amendment, finished there and said, let's change it and leave it at that. So I want to say that I think the sentence can be removed. That last sentence, allocation to whatever it can be removed. Honorable Kalagamazibo, please, will you proceed? You are recognized.
Oh, Chair, that was the hand that I had raised. We just want to correct that it's not the Standing Committee on Finance, but is a parliamentary. Yes, if the committee that is responsible for the legislation for the parliamentary. Yes.
Financial management, Chair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what I wanted to give clarity on that, Mr. Magagula. Now you've heard the corrections. That is not a committee of finance. It's the Financial Management of Parliament Committee, which is a separate committee. That the report to be tabled from there, and that to have for the accounting to make sure that the financial management of the project does not exceed cost overruns. I know I've said it clumsily, but is there anything you'd like to add so that we can clean up the language?
Yes, Chairperson. Honorable Chair, I still think we don't have to still involve them, because Parliament accounts their quarterly. So it sounds as if at the moment we are saying the Honorable Speaker has not like tabled the report around the rebuilding of Parliament on into this committee, which is the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament. So I would rather still suggest we remove something that doesn't belong to us as a committee, and then let's do Parliament we want that report to the Standing Committee on Appropriations. Let us not recommend anything that goes to another committee. And again, Chairperson, I don't know whether I will be controversial, but I hope I'm not. With this recommendation 5.5, I think we can be a little bit collegial with the Honorable Speaker, because they have not necessarily said they can't. We have not requested this information before, and they have never said that they can give us this information. But to put it in the report, I'm just saying to you, we still as a committee have other avenues without necessarily writing this recommendation to the office of the Speaker, you can write and invite the management of Parliament to come and account to the committee around this without necessarily making it a recommendation. But I am saying to you, I'm just saying, if the committee feels strongly that this must be a recommendation that goes there, then let's do it. But I'm saying the Speaker, it's our Speaker. She's here with us. We are not like treating her different from other executive who must account to the committee. But I am saying, with the benefit like of just thinking as our Speaker, we can live without that recommendation, but use your office as the chairperson to invite the Honorable Speaker to say, Honorable Speaker, can we have this type of conversation around these matters? But I'm saying, it's my thinking. I'm open to leave it as it is. You are the politicians who decide what must go in here. But I am saying, with the benefit of having the Speaker as our Speaker, we can remove this recommendation and use your office to invite the Speaker to account on these matters of Parliament. But lastly, that joint standing committee.
Yes. Finish, Mr. Makakula.
Yes, I'm saying that joint standing committee, because the Speaker already accounts there. We don't know what discussions they have had. So let's limit it to ourselves. The report, if we live with that point, the report must come to us. Let us not say it must go to the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management of Parliament, because we are not privy to the discussions that goes there quarterly, because the Speaker reports there quarterly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr.
Chair.
Makakula. Honorable Wakely, let me recognize you, and then I've got a proposed way forward on this issue.
Yeah, Chair, this is the first time I agree with Mr. Makagula this morning, is that is not our committee. They don't report to us and we don't report to them. We are a committee in our own rights. Can we please agree that that will not be standing there? We cannot support that submission. However, we do support the second submission, that they should stay within budget. We agree with that.
Can I make a suggestion, honorable members? The suggestion is, Mr. Makakula, and to the committee, this is a special appropriation. And for the first time, we are now considering a matter of a special appropriation to the rebuilding of Parliament. In typical sense, there should have been a normal appropriation for Parliament, which deals with parliamentary operations, which will be voted on the appropriations bill. In this instance, it's a special appropriations bill. Therefore, consistent with that, this would be something that I think would be amiss of us not to request from the principal officer, who is the Speaker, that at least a report be sent to the committee that deals with how the disbursements of these particular funds are. This is not anything ultra virus or let alone untoward. It is about us saying, wait, look, there was a special appropriation. This is where it goes. I do think the point that is made about, I'm sufficiently convinced about that it's not even the Standing Committee on Financial, that we can take that particular point out and then deal with the fact that the Committee on Appropriations on Expenditure, that actually the Speaker is able to furnish a report about how the funds have been dispersed and how they've been utilized. I think is a fair point, because equally so, I want to fully understand myself all of because we don't attend as an appropriations committee, we don't attend the Joint Committee on Financial Management of Parliament, yet we are being asked to allocate money to a special appropriation to Parliament. Therefore, I do think a separate report that doesn't necessarily have to be concurrent with the former must be able to come to the particular committee. So if we leave the recommendation that the committee wants to satisfy itself both reasonably of these costs, whilst ensuring that the projects are within the allocated budgets, in order to avoid cost overruns, I think, or whatever, that is sufficiently covered on that point. Can our honorable members move that we leave it like that? Because I think this is a committee bit here. Okay. With that in mind, let us then, we now at the end in dealing with this last page, the committee recommends that the bill be adopted as a special appropriation bill, and then the conclusion that has been put there. this is the complete report on the on the special appropriation bill. Honorable Wakeling, I recognize your hand.
Thank you, Chair. Given the situation and circumstances we find ourselves in, we are not able to support this report at the moment, and we need to do further engagement on the matter. So as it stands at the moment, we will abstain and not give support to this report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mkhonto, I recognize your hand.
Please note the objection of the EFF.
I haven't put the report before the committee for voting, but I do note the object. So the DA is abstaining, the EFF objects. May I ask the ANC, Honorable Kalega Mazibuko?
Yes, my hand is up. Yes, Chair, we approve, we are agreeing to the report with the amendments that have been made.
Yeah. So effectively, we've got a report that is before us here. It has all the recommendations and amendments that have been put forward. Given the objection of the DA and the EFF, that's 3. We then and then Honorable Gamede, I see your hand.
Yes, Chairperson, thank you very much. No, forgive Chairperson. At the beginning, I just wanted to put this into so that everyone would understand. I know that as the MK party, we are the official opposition. We are not. We were not actually opposing or objecting the motion of desirability, simply because we are the opposition for the sake of opposing. But we know that sometimes we will have the GNU pretending to be engaging constructive. At the end of the day, they will end up in agreement. Okay, thanks very much for now. The DA has objected. Notes the objection of the MK party. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
So I note the objection of the DA, the EFF, and the MKP party. That then, so that is there a member who will vote differently to the party? Just want to make sure that we are clear. Mr. Makakula, I see your hand is up. You are not a voting member, so.
Yeah, yes, Honorable Chairperson, I'm not a voting member, but I just wanted to highlight this issue to say, if the honorable members from the Democratic Alliance and the Umkhonto Sizwe Party and EFF are objecting this report, as they have said, then you are left with now you must count your members, because you need still to adopt this report. You need to have like the required numbers. Otherwise, procedurally, it's going to come back to us. So count your members who's here. If the DA is not voting for it, if the MK party and the EFF, then you must be sure of your numbers. And it's my responsibility just to tell you what to count your numbers correct. Otherwise, it will come back to give us problems. So count your numbers.
No, I'm alive to that fact. So let me ask, then we have to put the matter to a vote, and each party must express the views that is. So let me start with the ANC.
With the ANC, we are for, Chair, and we vote for the report.
Thank you. And then I move to the DA.
Chair, we are 2 and we are abstaining.
Okay, so 2 abstain. And then we move to MKP. Mashile, I hope you are recording this.
Yes, I am, Chair. I'm taking notes.
MKP.
I'm sorry, Chair. I'm not sure whether did you get the vote of the MKP?
Can you state it for the record, please?
Okay, as the MK party, we are 2. We refuse to endorse a report that serves administrative collusion rather than the urgent service delivery needs for our people. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
You object? EFF?
I'm one chair, one member against.
So EFF objects. So far we've got MKP. Let me just see the members. Honorable Kameta, you are here alone, or is there another member from MKP who's here?
Honorable Mali is on call as far as I've checked.
Sorry?
Honorable Mwal is here, Chairperson.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So 2 MKP, 1 EFF, 3. Plus, is there a BOSA? If I speak for BOSA, we vote, we support. So that is 4 ANC plus 1 is 5. MKP, so DA objects, which is 2. MKP 2, EFF 1 objects 1, so it's 5 each.
DA abstain, Chair.
DA is abstaining, so it then becomes 5-3. Just so I'm clear, given those numbers, that yes, Honorable Wakelin.
Chair, please just explain. When we abstain, it doesn't mean that we agreed with the report. If that's the case, then we are against this report. We cannot let this report go through as it stands at the moment.
Okay, so are you changing your vote to say that you are objecting?
It's fine, Chair. We are standing against this report.
I'm sorry, Honorable Wakelin, I just want to get it clear. You object to the report. Is that clear?
We object to the report as it stands. Yes.
Thank you. 5 each. Mr. Makakula? Your hand is up. It's recognized.
No, Chairperson, I just want you to conclude your process. Then I will talk once we have concluded on this matter.
Well,
because my thinking was around, like, when we vote, like, as a committee, Mashile should know that very well. I don't think it's all the members who have got voting rights. Some of them are alternate and all that. But Mashile must know that, so that we guide you correctly on how to handle this process as we are. So I want Mashile to tell you how, on the members of the committee, we are, I think we're about 11 who are voting members, who are not voting members. But that information sits with Mashile, so that you don't do like something that is wrong. So I wanted to give you to be live to that. With an availability of a member does not necessarily mean that he has got, or she might not necessarily mean that he has got a voting right here. So, but Mashile knows exactly that information sits with his office.
Mashile, can you give some guidance in this regard?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair. I think Sfiso would assist in here. In as far as I understand, we do have 11 members with the absence of Mr. Kwankwa. All members who are here, except for we don't have any alternate member or any co-opted member. All members that are in here have the voting rights, unless I understood it quite differently, Mr. Sfiso.
Yes, you are correct, Mr. Mashile, but I wanted you to explain that to the chairperson, because that's a procedural matter that must be followed religiously. So, thank you.
So with 11 members, as things stand at the moment, 5 are voting for and 5 are voting against, which means the report cannot be adopted.
Chair?
Yes, Mashile?
We've got 10 on record because Mr. Kwankwa is not in. He sent an apology later.
Yes, so we have 10 members on the platform, 5 voting for, 5 voting against. Right? That is the state of play at the moment. Therefore, the report cannot be adopted, which means it cannot be debated in Parliament. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Honorable Chairperson.
Yes, Mr. Makakula.
Just to clarify things, if the reports cannot be adopted today, then it invokes other processes.
Yes.
Because through your office, then you must write to the Speaker of the National Assembly.
No,
your
that
office.
That is the
Chair.
action.
And the
Yes.
program committee.
Yes.
Informing them that if this report cannot be adopted today, it cannot be debated on Tuesday because
Correct.
it was scheduled for debate on Tuesday. So
Correct.
the formal way now, the process, if we don't adopt it today, then you inform the Speaker, you inform the program committee so that they can adjust the program of the National Assembly accordingly.
Yes.
And obviously, Honorable
Yes, you're saying, Mr. Makakula?
and obviously then it means that also over and above that, then you respond to you are required then to respond to the letter that was sent via the office of the Speaker by the Minister of Finance. That letter you have in the committee has it to say if we can't do this now, then the reasons that were advanced in that letter you must explain again to the minister. Not necessarily explaining yourself, I'm not meaning that in literally, but you must inform the minister. This is where the process of parliament is.
Correct.
And then parliament then will reschedule this, will then bring back the report to the committee to say, okay, the committee can still deliberate on it at that level, Honorable Chair.
Yes, I'm alive to the consequences. Yes, Mashile?
May I just interrupt? Sorry, Mr. Magagula. Mr. Kwankwa has just entered the meeting. So I'm not sure if we should put the question back because we haven't gotten into the resolution. Can we go back and redo the process and check if, because
who called him?
I beg your pardon?
Wait. Hold on, Honorable Kamete. Let's not just speak in the meeting here. Honorable Kwankwa, you are on. Are you on?
I am on, Chairperson. Yes, indeed, I am on.
Thank you, Honorable Kwankwa. Honorable Kwankwa, we are considering the report that has been put together on this particular platform. Each party is required to give a view about where the report is. We are now 11 members on this platform. At first, you've got so here are the votes as follows. The ANC with 4 members, the ANC votes in support. BOSA with 1 votes in support. DA opposes. EFF objects to the report, opposes. MKP with 2 members opposes. So as things stand at the moment, you've got 5 members in support, 5 members in opposition. I would like to get the view of the UDM in this regard.
Voting in favor. Thank you.
You vote in support. So there are now 6. Honorable Nkonto, yes?
Chair, thanks for the opportunity. Chair, we for today, maybe we'll allow what you have done to continue, but according to the decorum of meetings and sittings, a member cannot just come during voting just to vote. When the voting process starts, no one is allowed to join the platform or the sitting in Parliament. So what is being done today, Chair, we hope it won't be done in the future. Thank you.
I take your point, Honorable Mkonto. We've never prescribed, because we were not dealing with a division, we were allowing each party to give its expression. That was what allowed the process to go in the manner that you've raised. But I do take your point entirely. In future, what we will do is then set it up as a division and then vote accordingly, which is the work that the committee must be able to do. Honorable Kameta, I recognize your hand, and then I'll recognize Honorable Talega Mazibu.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm sorry for I thought I was muted last time when I spoke previously. Chairperson, in concurring with what Honorable Mkonta is saying, we've deliberated in this issue for quite some time, and I even came back and explained the reason why I objected initially. So I had to support, or I said what I said about our objection. I don't think it is fair what is happening now, because Parliament is Parliament, Chairperson. Whatever that is, I'm sorry for that. Whatever that is happening right now, or whatever that we do today, we must know that we do it around the laws of our constitutional parliament. So it is not correct. Even in parliament, whenever we vote, there is a time whereby we don't accept anyone from the outside to come and vote, then leave. But then again, I'm ready to be called into order or to be corrected. But I strongly believe that what is happening right now, it is totally wrong. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Honorable member, if a division being called, no, we didn't call a division. We were simply giving each party an opportunity to do so. Now, if a member arrives late, it is but one process in this particular instance. And there was, and so in that light, a member comes into the meeting at different points. I hear what members are saying. If we're taking it, this is the first time the committee has had to vote on the report. I was giving political parties an opportunity to give an expression. On another day, we would set up a meeting for another time to say, let members come in, and then all we do is vote on the report. That is all that would need to happen. But then in that instance, there is a procedure of calling that particular process. So I just wanted to give that particular context. I hear what members are saying, but I think it's important to place it in the context of what is going on in committee at this stage. Honorable Kalaga Mazibuga, I recognize you, and then Honorable Waitlin last.
Chair, did you call me?
Yes, I'm recognizing you because your hand is up.
Yes, my hand was up, Chair. I agree with you. In fact, I was going to say exactly what you said. One, this report has been circulated to us. We have read the report and we have made submissions. So I don't think Honorable Nkwankwa is out of order for coming late and voting on behalf of the party the way he voted, because this report was circulated to us, so he's not voting on something he does not know. That's number one. Number two, you are correct, Chair. There is no division that has been called. If maybe what I would suggest is that maybe in one of the meetings or workshops that we will have as a committee, we should be workshopped in terms of the issue of the division and what the members are raising now, and the rights of the committee in terms of the rules. So maybe because for me, there's no division that was called. There's no division. Division is very clear to say that within 5 minutes, all members should be inside. And there is no such here in the committee. So, and when you called upon Honorable Nkwankwa to raise the vote of the UDM of his vote, you actually did not know how was he going to vote, but you gave him that right as a full-time member of the committee. So I don't want us to go out of this meeting and members begin to say there's something untoward or a fraudulent process that applied here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kalagamazabugo. Honorable Waitlin, and then we ventilated this matter, Honorable members. Honorable Waitlin.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, so the decorum of this committee has been damaged this morning in the way things has happened. And it is fine. We accept what has happened this morning. It is on record. And the DI would ventilate this matter at a different platform. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Gamede.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. No, I just wanted to say we had to tell what you said. But in future, it will be correct, like we have said it. We have noted what you are saying, but there is no need in future to say to us we need a workshop. I just want to put that one on record. There was no need at all. Thank you.
No, thank you, Honorable Kamete. Honorable members, I want to sum up what has just taken place so that we don't get confusion. We deliberated on a report. That report, we made amendments that were included from various political parties. I brought the matter before each political party for its view on the adoption of the report. A process was undertaken for each party to give expression to the report. I don't need to go through each of the numbers that have then come through with the voting members of the committee. I have been a member of parliament long enough to know that typically when you need to consolidate votes, members then can come through and vote. In this particular instance, I gave each political party the right to be able to give expression to their views on the report. And as such, in this regard, the results of the process that was undertaken meant that political parties objected, others gave support. The report is carried. 6 members have voted in support, 5 against. That will be noted and reported as such. This report then will then be concluded in terms of its own cleanup. It will then be sent to the National Assembly, and certainly this debate will then ensue in the House post facto. In that right, honorable members, I want to thank you for your time. We do our best to try and honor the integrity of this particular meeting as it stands, and I'm certain that as per Honorable Wakelin, there will be other processes that will ensue post that. I want to thank honorable members. With no further items being put then on the agenda, may I request that honorable members, the report being adopted. It is as such. I want to thank all the honorable members today for your contribution, and we will then adopt this particular report. It will be tabled before the National Assembly. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Honorable Chairperson.
Yes, Honorable Makagula, yes.
Sorry, Chairperson. We still need to know who when you propose for the adoption of the report, we still need the member's name who recommends for the adoption and then who's seconding. It must be recorded, so we can't just go without that. Okay.
I would imagine for the parties that have voted in support of the report. So is there a member who will move for the adoption of the report? Sorry.
Yes,
I
Chair.
move, Chairperson. I second.
No, I second. It's fine.
Okay, Honorable Kwankwa moves for the adoption of the report, and Honorable Kalega Mazibuko votes in support. He seconds the adoption of the report with the objection of the respective parties who have objected. Honorable Mwali.
No, I wanted Chair to say we must note our objection as MK Party, but you've already mentioned it. Thank you.
I note the objection of MKP, EFF, and Democratic Alliance. Those parties who have objected to the adoption. With all of that in mind, honorable members, let me thank you very much for your time and wish you a good weekend. We will convene on Tuesday when this report will be debated. Thank you very much.
Honorable Chair.
Makakula, yes, I want to close this meeting unless there's anything materially procedural.
It's not about the report. I don't want you to close it without me saying this. My colleagues from the National Treasury, Orica, I just want to bring this to your attention. We are debating these things, Chairperson, and we are having different views because of what the appropriations bill of last year that we passed said. I am requesting that National Treasury, when they are coming on Tuesday to present to the committee the 2026-2027 appropriations bill, can we not focus only on the numbers? I will tell you why. Can we not only focus on the numbers, colleagues from National Treasury, also deal with the clauses or the sections of the
Mr.
bill?
Makakula,
Because
Mr.
Yes.
Makakula, I'm going to stop you there because now you are asking about a meeting that is coming on Tuesday. Can you write for me formally the request that you are making so that I can put it before the National Treasury as we go? Because
it's still relevant for this bill because, Chairperson, we are dealing with Section 6, which is Section 6 of the bill. That is why we are dealing with the special appropriations. And I'm gonna be clear to say why. Because the reason why we're having this discussion is because these sections of the bill that comes early from Section 1 to, they have not been brought to the attention of the members, and the members are only focusing on the numbers which then get presented on the bill. And then I've got a challenge now to say it's an appropriation that you passed last year. The minister has already now used that section of the act that you passed, but you are not aware of it. So I'm saying, let us not only focus on the numbers as an appropriations committee, but let's deal with the other aspects, the legal aspects of the bill, so that members are empowered. They know what they are signing to. Because otherwise, you don't know what you are signing to. And then I must be here now.
Mr. Makakula, I hear your point. Please write to my office. We will then attend to it on Tuesday. I really think that
I'll do so, Chairperson. I'll do.
I don't see any other hand. I would like to move that this meeting be closed.
Chair,
Thank you very much.
I apologize. It didn't vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Long live the Chair.
Enkosi hlala.
Ndincedile la masela.